Okay, so I've never quite tried to juggle this many guitars in a single video before, leaping tall bounds in a single tree or something. Um, we, I don't know what order I'll be editing this together in, and I don't have every single new Vintera. In fact, I don't have any of the actual new Vinteras. Uh, but at some point, I was talking about the Stratocaster, which may have happened already or not. Probably did. Don't know. We'll see how I feel when I put this together. So obviously the Stratocaster is known for having the extra single coil pickup. That's what makes it already different than the Telecaster. And then for whatever reason, when they wanted to capture more of the jazz market, you can hear me, more of the jazz market, Leo Fender decided to, I guess he was trying to compete with the Les Paul, and so, or not the Les Paul specifically, but Gibson, and so introduced, his version of the P90 pickups, the single coil, but only two again, same as the Telecaster, the offset body. This, of course, being the Jazzmaster. Like I said, I already, or maybe I haven't said it yet because the other video part hasn't happened yet, but I already did a video about this guitar, so I'm not doing a shootout between the Stratocaster and the Jazzmaster, and I'm not doing a shootout between the Jazzmaster and the Jaguar. But this is the Jazzmaster, again, different sounding from the Stratocaster, and also the Telecaster, which I'm not showing at all in this video. I also did a video previously about the Jaguar, this, of course, being a Squire, as I left the little red sticker on here instead of the black one that you might have caught the glimpse of on the Stratocaster. This being similar in body shape and concept to the Jazzmaster, but having the shorter scale neck and the button switchy lead circuit instead of just the rhythm circuit and the tone knobs. I didn't really, like I said, I already did a video about both of these guitars. They both have the same different trim system and the different bridge from the Strat. This one, of course, having the different coil pickups from the Strat. But for the purposes of this video, the important thing is to talk about the Squire neck having the new, or having the block inlays, which again, I think was more of a Gibson thing, and Fender only does them once in a while. The new Vintera ones have a block inlay similar to this, but it's a black on maple with a black body instead of a burst body. I don't know that all of them have that exact. Those are the ones I've seen demoed in the videos. But the fret ends in here will be a real dead giveaway, usually between the Mexican build stuff and this kind of Indonesian overseas stuff. So you're going to get a little bit nicer of a finish. Now, if somebody was saying to me, especially if they just bought, say, a Strat, if I have a couple $100, and I just got the new guitar, should I get like the fret ends done first or swap out the pickups first? Depending on why you bought it, what the price range is, why you don't like those pickups, all that kind of thing. I would say it depends. If you are a total beginning guitar player, you're not gigging anywhere, not necessarily total beginner, but a beginner, you're not playing anywhere live, I'd say do the fret ends first. Definitely spend that money. Get somebody to, make it comfortable so you enjoy playing it. If you're already gigging and you just got a new guitar and you're like, oh man, I don't like that and I don't like that, I would say spend the extra money and do the pickups first and just, play through the pain or suffer for your 2 or 3 months. The fret ends won't kill you. I've played on lousy fret ends for decades, and it doesn't really matter that much if you're not. But your audience will thank you if your guitar sounds better. So that's my advice there, sandwiched into what's supposed to be a product review, right? But what do I care? Easter eggs. nuggets of truth. Like I said in the other video, this guitar has kind of been my neglected guitar because I was worried about, kind of abusing these switches a little too much. But now that the new ones are out, I can get a hold of the older models for less money. So now I can play this one all the time and don't worry about the switches, because now I have the already plugged in and ready to go Vintera, but this is the older Vintera Jaguar. So now these have all been discounted, so hooray, I can hop on the bandwagon and get one, and maybe in a couple of years I can check out that 70s one and see if it's, as good as this one when it comes down in price, because I think I got that Jazzmaster for half the price of the new Jazzmaster, and I got this one for a few bucks off too, which is the way I like to do things. And of course, so here I again have, or maybe not again if you haven't seen the Strat part, but this is the Pau Ferro fingerboard instead of the darker, like I said, kind of rosewood. Otherwise, everything in here should be similar, hopefully better than the Indonesian version by the Squire. I haven't had a chance to really, screw around with this guitar. This switch is a little wonky, and I don't know if it was like that in the warehouse or if FedEx did that, but fortunately, not a switch I need to mess with too much. Now, ordinarily, a lot of people would say, well, it's still under warranty, just send it back, get a different one. But they are becoming lower quantity, and I don't really care, because if I have to get this upgraded, then I'll get the American version of the switch, which may or may not be the exact same switch as this, and, it'll need new switches anyway. And like I said, this will be the neglected guitar while that one gets played more probably anyway. So I'm not too worried about the switches right away. But immediately, yeah, you notice the fret ends are not all sharp and jagged. And the Strat, a few of them might need to get smoothed out. This one, I don't even need somebody to look at this. This is fine. And so, so the specs, for those of you who don't know, you've got the shorter scale neck. Once again, you have the vintage style tuning pegs, same as, well, all of these have those, but I don't know that all the new Vinteras will have that. The two singles, the trim system with the little locking button for your security, and the bridge, and the... Now I'm up here in the rhythm circuit, the taboo, much feared and hated rhythm circuit. My tip with both the Jazzmaster and the Jaguar is set them in advance if you're playing a show. Get the volume both even. Then switch down to the lead circuit and tweak it from there so that your two sounds aren't exactly the same. So that when you go to the rhythm, that's a little loud, but when you go to the rhythm, you get one sound. When you go to the lead, you get one sound. Then you can modify it from there, so that you're not playing the two exact same sounds. That's not going to sound that great because I'm just strumming over it. But this switch is your bass cut, so when you go up, you get way more treble. So obviously I'm not the kind of guy who really likes that very much. This is the one switch that will make it, again, sound more like the rhythm. When you drop it out, you get more treble again. You drop all of them out, you get nothing. You drop that in and you get more treble again. So, like I said, if you want to sound almost exactly like the rhythm, it's pretty easy to dial that in. And like I said, this isn't going to be a me playing guitar demo as much as me talking about a guitar demo. And so yeah, the fingerboard, the neck, still a little gloppy on this neck compared to what I like. Not quite as satin as I would enjoy. I imagine the newer ones might be even worse or about the same. Why they have the parchment color here and the black plastic here, don't know, but they've traditionally always been black, as far as I know. So they could put black pickup color if they felt like it, but they don't, because I don't know, it's Fender. They like to have contrast in their products for whatever reason. And this white here could be more of a parchment, but they're not going to bother, with that because whatever. The white pops more than the beige would, I guess. I heard a guy talking about how, though, on the new ones, on the American ones, you were getting the clay, and on the Vintera ones, you were still getting white dots. But these dots are pretty subdued. They're not super bright white. Like I said, I know the one version has the block inlay, so you don't have to worry about the dots at all. I don't know about the Jazzmaster or the other. I'd have to go back and look again at all the colors and all that. So, but I'm pretty sure he's wrong. I don't think they've done anything so terrible as to make it like super bold. I can just turn off the volume since I'm not playing. Yeah, they did a kind of a nice subdued thing here. Like I said, a lot of people don't like this Pau Ferro because it's not as dark as the traditional. But again, if you're playing an instrument that's supposed to look kind of vintage, like you're, because you're a retro geek like me, then having it look a little faded out kind of goes with the vibe. But of course, you do have the plastic nut here, which is bright white and totally blatant. Nothing you can really do about that. And you have the recessed truss rod, so you have to remove the neck to adjust that. So if you're not a professional or whatever, you may or may not be skeptical about taking off your own neck and messing that up. There's videos and all things about that kind of thing that I don't do. I take them to people and let them do that kind of thing if I want them done. The back just looks like the back, and the back plate, and the no skunk stripe here. Just a nice, less expensive Jaguar for a guy who really, really, really wants Jaguars. Okay, thanks. Okay, I am not doing a head-to-head video here. There might be a one later or something. But since we're talking about the Vinteras, this is I already did a video about this Jazzmaster before, so I'm not doing this guitar now, except to say that this is the classic vibe or whatever they were called, the previous model that came out before the Vintera series. So what would be kind of like the player Stratocasters now. This, I don't remember it just says Fender Jazzmaster on the headstock, but it had an actual official name that I, just don't recall. But so totally different guitar. And then also totally different guitar from the Jaguar, obviously, which, again, I did a Squier video, both of the Jaguar and of the Stratocaster. I might try to do kind of more of a head-to-head with the Stratocasters later, but I'm not going to do that now. But I will say that since in that other one I have the Yosemite pickups, that I can give a little bit of a sonic comparison. They're pretty similar. This is the Vintera, but this is the slightly older Vintera. These pickups may be a little more mid-range heavy, a little less low and high, maybe a little more balanced, I guess. The other one, a little bit more ice picky when you go to the high notes. And I have this like here. Not too terribly bad. I tried to put them at about the same settings, but I've turned the volume way down here. So. Kind of a roundabout way to get to talking about the guitar than to just talk about the guitar. But of course, an introduction would cover, a lot more of that kind of aspect. So this was sort of a not quite impulse purchase. I was trying to get a hold of several models, not necessarily to buy them all, but to compare them all. And I was able to check out the 1957, the 1962, around, and then around the same time, one of the really large neck 1950s um, models, which I thought the 1957 would have the thicker neck too, and then it didn't. And then I thought the 1962 would have a thicker neck, and it didn't. This is the 60s Vintera, but this one and the 62 neck are about the same, except this one has way less gloss on it. So for $1,000 less, except this is the older model, which has the Pau Ferro instead of the rosewood. So I guess a lot of people like really don't like this kind of light milk chocolate, they call it, or chocolate milk streaky kind of look to it. Personally, I don't mind because this is supposed to be a vintage spec guitar. So to me, it looks kind of more agey than just having a dark neck, even though typically, well, as you can see, this is the traditional looking, more, dark neck, although I don't know that this is actually rosewood either or not, because this being a few years old, it might be. But somebody else might look at it and go, no, man, that's you're saying the wrong kind of wood. I call anything dark rosewood just because I'm lazy, and anything light is maple. It could be any other number of things, and I'll still call it that. The back has a little bit more of a roasted. Sorry about the tag there. A little bit more of a roasted kind of look to it. You can kind of see it's kind of that orangey, amberish wood. This one doesn't have the truss rod through here, no skunk stripe. You have to adjust your truss rod under there. It's got the parchment knobs, but the mint green. And then white backplate. So the backplate and the mint green don't match. Why they didn't put a parchment backplate, I don't know, to match the knobs at least. I might put a different pickguard on here. I had kind of bought one back when I bought all that random Telecaster hardware that I ended up returning. And I got one from a Strat just to check it out, not because I had a Strat to put it on. So even though this is technically, traditional, I still might swap it out for this other one. But I don't know. It'll be a while before I get around to doing anything like that. Another odd thing was the 62s and the 57s both had the 5-way switch instead of the 3-way, which I think the 5-way wasn't introduced till 63. Somebody might know, but the inclusion on the 57 was definitely, obviously more people will want the 5-way switch because that's the whole reason that the Strat is kind of the upgrade from the Telecaster. But traditionally, I don't think they came with one. But so in the middle, 4, up, down in the kind of jazzy position, and then treble or bridge. So going back to middle. So like I said, a pretty good balanced sound for the 60s pickups. Maybe a little bit hotter than the Yosemite. Not quite as sharp as the 50s. And of course the vintage tuning pegs and the which is going to be standard with all of the Vinteras pretty much, which I guess stands for Vintage Era Series. And so it's basically, if you're willing to pay a little bit extra for a more throwback looking item, and I'm a retro geek, so suits me. But the newer models, they're coming in at 12, 1500 or whatever. So finding some older ones, getting some bargains on some dead stock or items that are about to become dead stock, because Guitar Center and Fender both just dropped their prices. This one, Guitar Center had it for $100 less, but I would have either had to drive to San Diego, which is more than $100 in gas, or I would have had to get it shipped from there, or Oregon, and then worry about it getting destroyed in, UPS and all that. So it was kind of worth the $100 to just be able to throw it in my car and drive it home, even though I didn't even get to play it, same as the ones that come in the mail. And yeah, other than that, I mean, it's just a basic 60s Strat. It's got a bit of weight to it. I don't know if an American one would be a little bit lighter would have the nitro finish though, but again, for $1,000 more bucks, for and a gloppier neck for the 62. And this is pretty similar as far as I can tell. Again, I don't know what the difference between these pickups and the 62 pickups would exactly be. And like I said, I already upgraded the Squier ones, and they're kind of sonically similar, so that's pretty close to what my ear usually wants to hear. Like I said, more than kind of those brighter ones. I guess that's just my Friday video for now.